The Nerd or Not podcast is an irregularly aired show about games, movies, TV, comics, theme parks and anything else that floats our fandom. And now, here's your hosts, Jay, Bob, and Corey, the Cretans Guild.
Hello, Cretans, and welcome to episode 37 of the Nerd or Not podcast. I am Bob, he is Corey.
And I can't count.
Well, then you're...
Yeah, what you just said means nothing to me.
Yeah, I mean, you can't count. You measure liquid all the time.
I don't... Oh, that's true, but that's for a particular purpose.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead. Let's, pour it in.
All right.
Let's see it.
This might be why I can't count right now. Apparently, there's some holiday going on. And normally I would just have, like, nice caffeinated beverage right next to us here, but in the spirit of the celebration here, it is an Irish coffee.
Get yourself some Irish on.
Yep. And apparently all that's needed to turn a coffee into Irish coffee is just some of this, which may or may not be authentic Irish whiskey. I don't really know where this stuff is supposedly distilled in the Bow Street Distillery of Dublin, Ireland.
Yeah, I think it's imported. I'm like Crown Royal, I think.
Like not even one of the smaller locales, just the big one. So, here you go. Irish coffee. Not too complicated.
Cool.
And I think it's that way because it has to be easy to make, because by the time you get to coffee, you're like, it's a cup. Okay.
You stop caring at that point.
Exactly.
Like it's cylinder and it holds liquid. I don't care anymore.
Right.
I have
in the back of your head there.
Yeah.
At that point.
I have lifted the drink embargo I've made on myself. I'm having myself a Bob Mai Tai. Mm-hmm. This is the Krakatoa mug. Normally I would have saved this for a Tiki Tuesday, but
right.
But whatever. I am planning a trip to Trader Sam's sometime soon, so I'll probably turn that into an episode.
Yeah.
Basically, this is a regular Mai Tai. Mm-hmm. Instead of 2 shots, it's 2.5 shots of rum. And a little bit of grenadine, a little extra lime juice, and I threw in a little mint. Because why not?
Because you had some mint left over and you need to get rid of it.
Yes.
Don't worry. Yeah. Everybody that's in the mixin' has been there. And that's before you learn how to make a painkiller, which is your essential garbage drink. Not that they're trash, it's just that that's the drink that you use to burn everything off.
Yeah. If you want to forget everything.
Sure. But not those valuable recipes. No. Never those.
No, absolutely not. So we got our beverages ready.
What's the Bob enforced embargo or no drink embargo?
Oh well, because
what the fuck did you even say? Sorry,
I didn't really say anything. It's just I had kind of the equivalent of volume of this. This is just a Mai Tai, and I just topped it off with ice, so that's why it's all the way to the top.
Okay.
But I had double the serving that you would have for a regular Mai Tai, so instead of the 2 shots and the this stuff and the that stuff, it was all doubled up, so it filled the whole glass. I drank.
Oh, okay.
I had that on. I think it was episode 35. Where Goobs was a guest.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and at the end of the episode, I was getting a little hyper, a little excited, and I slammed my head on the desk. Didn't even know I could do that because this thing's made of plastic, and it's like it's a stand-up desk, so it's a little further away.
Which does indicate that it is still very much a solid object, despite what it's made out of.
Yeah, and the welt of my head proved that too. Just it mushroomed up without a doubt.
Well, you would be the first person on this beautiful planet of ours to give themselves an alcohol-induced concussion. But man, you did it live. That's got to put you up in at least the top 100 class.
Yeah, well, at least I'm 100 of something.
Of drunk accidents. I've never had a drunk accident.
Yeah, not that great to talk about. Not one of my proudest moments.
No? All right. Well, it gives you something to talk about.
Yeah, well, last episode I didn't drink at all, and then it was like, it was, I don't,
well,
it was very cringeworthy.
What I Why the hell else would you?
Yeah, and then we ended up talking about stuff we really shouldn't have said on air, and so I had to cut all that.
Well, yeah, I know. But you took care of that, like a dutiful citizen.
Yep.
So,
So if you want to hear what we said, just record the podcast and stretch it out. Stretch out the audio. And you still won't be able to understand what we're saying because I jumbled the audio. So don't waste your time unless you want to.
Holy crap. You're like an Audacity wizard. I need to glean a lot of this knowledge from you.
Well, I wanted to make sure because there are YouTube channels out there that take audio, they break it down. It's like, well, this guy at this level had this to say. I was like, oh god, let's not take this chance.
Yeah.
So
Talented though they are.
Yeah, so I just threw in like some squirrel farts or some other noises. Like a Game Boy sound effect starting up, that kind of stuff.
Nifty. Squirrel farts.
Yeah, very hard to capture on audio.
Yeah, where do you get microphones small enough?
Well, I mean, you just walk up with this guy. It's like, all right, here we go. All right.
Nah.
Nope, didn't get him.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're not getting any clearance with a Yeti. All you're gonna hear is.
Yeah, and the extension cord's a bitch.
So, all right. Today is what is going on this week? It's more or less like a kind of a free day, even though some things have occurred.
Yeah, we're going without a rundown of any kind. We're pretty much freebasing this entire episode. We have like a little thing we want to talk about, but we're going to touch on like, I know there's something that you want to speak on, Corey, since this is the end of the month. What is on your mind?
What is on my mind?
Yeah,
I want to know. Damn. If you put that in your video, it'd get like instantly demonetized, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you know what? I think there's like a time span because I see lots of videos playing sound bites. I'm thinking it's like 6 seconds. So I don't know what it is, but there is some kind of loophole where you can play music for a certain short amount of time and not get hit. Maybe you still get hit. I don't know.
YouTube tends to play pretty fast and loose with the whole concept of free usage or fair usage. So I don't know if you wanted to chance it or not, but if you were going to, yeah, go ahead and throw some. Who the fuck sang that? Never mind. Ooh, all right, this is working already.
All right, this is gonna be a great episode.
Now, all we needs to do is to remember what we wanted to talk about because it is March 2018. Oh, we're a year away from the WiiWare shop. Oh my god. We're a year away from the WiiWare and Virtual Console shop from closing down.
A year?
Here?
Oh, a year. A single year from now?
Yes. Well, give or take. Yeah, I don't know the exact numbers, but more to the point, this month, the WiiWare points system is shutting down for good. So what I've been doing is like making a shopping list of stuff that I've been meaning to get or other like classics that I think would I don't know, seem more at home in a console environment than they would through emulation. And I don't like to emulate if the option is there to not do that because it's. I mean, I'm not going to judge or anything because I do it a lot. But I think that like when somebody shows enough good faith in order to reintroduce a particular product to the marketplace, like when Earthbound came out on the Wii U, I went and bought that. I went and bought a copy just for shits and giggles on the 3DS too, because I wanted to be sure that those people knew that they made a good decision to release that to the public. Yeah,
when they see there's actually getting support in some of these titles, and like, oh, maybe we should bring it out to more platforms.
Exactly. And Nintendo themselves, in issuing a couple of these imports, there were some Wii games that didn't get translated, but there were a couple text-heavy ones that did, including Earthbound Zero, which previously only had a fan translation.
Oh, that.
That came out on the Wii U. Bought that shit. So, yeah, I do a fair share of, like, you know, the black games market, if that is even a thing. I don't know. Nerd wet work.
No, I completely understand. I mean, you and I played Mario Party 2, the Wii Shop version on the Wii.
Right.
And it felt more natural than playing it on an emulator like yourself. I'm not even sure. It probably is available on an emulator. You would probably know this.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
yes,
I would bet it is. But I would imagine that and several other titles, just like Super Mario World, that probably feels awesome on a console, even if it's just a Wii title.
If you're in the Super Mario World, for somebody like me, it feels like getting your feet pounded with a sledgehammer. But otherwise, have at it. Some people are into that shit. You sick fuck.
Well, that's a natural reaction.
And I'm fine with Super Mario World. I beat the entire thing once, and I never went back to it. So, I'm good. have at you. But so yeah, with the Wii Shop closing, I wanted to start putting together like a shopping list. I think I'd already mentioned that of not only just emulated stuff that's available, but the exclusive stuff on that platform that is available nowhere else. And there's a modicum of research involved here, because you see Monster World 4, that's one of those gaming collector holy grails, and you want to be sure that it's not just available on the Wii, but somewhere else. As it turns out, it's available on the PS3 and the 360 at the same time, and I've already got one of those. So that's a dupe, and you don't need to worry about it. But then there are things on WiiWare that are like, what's one of the specifics? Tominisonner, which is a very niche sort of an auto runner type of game.
Okay.
What's another one? The 2 Lost Winds games, which you can get on Steam, but you can't play them with a Wiimote, and that's they were designed around that mechanic. Things like that. So I was wondering, to kind of like, I don't know, maybe bounce people into this sort of a conversation. If there was like anything, and I'm not just including the Wii Virtual Console WiiWare stuff into this, if there was like a digital game that you had kind of seen or come across just surfing or browse in any sort of a digital storefront that you found that you thought was remarkable, but you'd never heard of it or you had absolutely no prior exposure to it before. Like, what would be the first thing to pop into your head? Like, and it could be anything. Steam, PSN. I know you have a PS4. The Switch eShop. Could be something off of there.
Oh my God, the Switch eShop, that has exploded with stuff. There are so many titles. It's like, I want to try this. I want to try that. I want to try that. Like, one
it's
game.
Almost another. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was thinking that one game that I've been seeing a lot of praise for, but I've seen one Let's Play, and I'm like, nope, not for me. It looks great, not for this guy. That's Celeste. That game looks like it'd be a little too much for me.
Celeste. Yeah, I know it's the mountain climbing one.
Where the wall sliding and jumping and yeah.
Okay, all right. See, I'd only seen a trailer for it, and I didn't know how much of it was. I don't know what to call these things. There was an article that I had read. It was a review for Super Meat Boy that referred to the game as a hyper-death simulator, which I think works. Because that's kind of like when you're designing an indie game. Oh, no. Okay, let's not screw up the metaphor here. That's something that a lot of indie dev studios seem to excel at, is like single screen, like tough as nails sort of platforming, but not quite retro action games. Mm-hmm. Because if you try to get away with something like this on the NES, it fucking wouldn't fly. The power's not there. However, there are games that for a while came out that were similar to each other. Meat Boy is the one. 6Vs or VVVVV was another one like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a little known one called I think Shuggy's Adventure. It's about like a little cartoon bat. I've got that one, same sort of idea. But then, indie games kind of just branched out over time, so that went by the wayside. But it always became kind of like a fallback for a lot of devs. And Celeste was just kind of like, I think, the next step in kind of refining that sort of a mechanic. I'm definitely interested in that. I haven't like downloaded a demo or anything for it yet, but it's gonna happen. But is there anything you've played so far?
What's that?
Is there anything that you've played on any of these digital storefronts yet?
Let's see. We've done a couple of demos. I'm always nervous about buying a digital game because if it's bad or if it doesn't play well, you can't return it. You're stuck with it.
Yeah.
WWE 2K18. Let's see. We've done the new Kirby game. That looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. We might end up getting that.
Is that Robobot or no? Allies, something Allies.
Yeah, heart, friends, Kirby. Where you throw a heart at an enemy and it becomes your friend. It's a weird, and then he can boost your weapon.
Cootie Puff Ball Huggy Buddies, whatever the fuck it's called.
That's it.
That might
you got
be
it. That's it. Yep.
Don't be like dismayed with me or anything, but I could never get into the Kirby games, and if you know me, that's kind of shocking for anybody that's watching this. It's like, well, that's not a big deal. I don't know what the appeal is there either, but they're like simple platformers. They're not too difficult. The difficulty is such that you can like blow through the entire game and then blow through it like another 2 or 3 times to find all the secret shit, and it won't get old. I love games like that. Those are fantastic.
Yeah.
I just can't. There's one that I've been able to get into. That was Mass Attack, because it was so like far from the typical Kirby formula that it might as well have been a different game, but with the same sense of humor. That was really fun. But otherwise, like not even Robobot, I couldn't get into. It's the same sort of, you're pressing right. Whoo, boy, you're pressing right. You're pressing right a lot.
Oh, so you've tried this game.
What's up?
You've tried this game then?
No, I've just tried a Kirby game.
Yeah, well,
and that's pretty much what they're.
This is exactly what you just described. It's very youth friendly, both in graphic appeal and in difficulty. It's an incredibly easy game to play. I saw, I think my kids played it for. And before the first level was over, they had plus 12 lives when you start with 3. it's very forgiving. It's very easy to play.
Someone's been to the market.
Yeah, and
all
apparently you can befriend up to 3 enemies at a time, and they'll just try. If an enemy is coming towards you, your 3 allies just charge at them and just start attacking. But meanwhile, you're standing there with a heart. It's like, oh, okay, I guess I won't use this then. It has an easy mode and a difficult mode. The difficult mode is not
difficult.
It's a lie. It's easy.
Here's the thing about difficulty in games. Easy games are great. Hard games are great. Unless there's like an unreasonable difficulty spike at some point in the game, usually near the end, that you're not quite prepared for. It's just like it's the engagement factor of them, because I'll play stuff that's like patently designed to be unchallenging to people, like hidden object games. I can't play enough of those. But the thing with Kirby is that they're just so goddamn monotonous. The scenery changes like incrementally, but it might as well be the same damn thing that you're looking at from stem to stern. You jump, you scroll right a little bit more, you swallow something, and then you gain their powers. I'm pretty sure there have been plenty of jokes made about that.
Oh yeah, nothing new we can say.
Right, yeah. And it's just nothing. They make attempts to shake up the formula, but nothing ever really takes, except for Mass Attack, like I just said. So it's just something that remains at arm's length for me.
Another game that we tried the demo of, and then we ended up buying it because both Alicia and the boys just absolutely love it, is Dragon Quest Builders. It's basically Zelda meets Minecraft is probably the best way to put it.
The bug bit you. Yeah. Builders is good shit.
I've been watching them play, and they're having loads of fun with it. I'm like, okay.
All right.
No, keep going. I'm waiting for Shantae. You keep going.
Just so you knows, there is a Dragon Quest Builders 2 is coming out this year.
Of course there is.
That's multiplayer.
Okay.
Right. Which is why I'm just going to finish the one-player game that I started last year on my PS4 and then put that away for good.
Now, that game goes in chapters, right?
Chapters. Yes. I don't know how far you've gotten. I don't really know if this is a spoiler, but there's really only 5 chapters for the most part.
I think I've heard that.
Yeah, a lot of the game is sold on the free mode, which is fantastic, by the way, because they have this weird share kind of feature where you build a thing and it has to occupy a certain acreage, and then you pop a sign in front of it, and then like somebody else can hop into your server and then like read your sign, and that'll give them the option to download your house. Kind of like you just threw like kind of like they came over and took your Legos. And you didn't notice?
Like they took it or copied it?
Copied it more or less, yeah, but still. Yeah, nothing so menacing, I guess. The freeware for Dragon Quest Builders was 80%, 90% of that game, really. That's a hard addiction to kick, too, so, enjoy it while it lasts, but you're going to have to free yourself at some point.
The whole family's just freebasing. I don't know what this is. I'm playing a tiny violin on my nose.
I need to make a chair. Go cut some grass. Go cut all the grass. I need more grass, Mommy. We're gonna get some grass. Who do I have to blow some?
Okay.
You want some twigs? You're gonna have to do something for me. Anyway. Don't worry, Dragon Quest Builders doesn't turn you into a junkie.
Not yet, it's not.
Yeah.
That's
At least not
what
like
the sequel is.
Proper junkie.
Yeah.
So, there's
I
that.
love cocaine!
So he was like smashing up a Dragon Quest Builders cartridge and then fucking lining their gums with it. And just like, fucking Square Enix, goddamn.
Speaking of Axis stupidity, let's talk about the nerd playoffs.
Fine, the nerd playoffs. Playoffs?
Playoffs?
Playoffs? I can't believe I get that stupid reference
You get
now.
that? Oh my god! All right, I'm going to send you a gift card or something. That was impressive.
I know, I'm fucking changing and I don't fucking like it. Playoffs? Sorry. Continue, you were saying?
No, please. You keep doing your Jim Moria or whoever the hell that was. No, it wasn't Jim Moria.
Wait for the shock to wear off.
Yeah,
Until you're cogent
okay.
once again.
Oh,
All right?
hold on.
You good? You need to fan yourself? Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Wow, I'm more than halfway done with that already. This could be fun.
There are people that like I know that are going to be like completely disappointed that I've made a playoffs reference in public. I'm just going to have to be like, well, you know what? We evolve.
Yeah, they're going to have to live with their shame. No,
Yeah.
wait. Yeah.
No. Well, that's what this podcast is all about. Our shame is yours.
We're sharing our shame with the world.
Yep.
And they're eating it up, apparently.
And lo, but the sound of millions of, or tens of browsers closing down at once.
Wait, did you hear that? Oh, yeah, it was a massive clicks all at once. All 5.
Yeah, they don't have to demonetize this video. It's not getting any views anyway. Well, not now.
Anyway, let's get into the nerd playoffs. The animated series
Cartoon
version.
playoffs, yes.
Cartoon playoffs, yes. I've been touting about it on Twitter for a couple weeks now. You've seen the last 2 podcasts have been about it. Let's get into some of the nitty-gritty, some of the details. All right, so basically,
Nitty-gritty.
we have a pretty good list of TV shows. It's
Kitty
somewhere
litter.
over 100. I'm just ignoring you at this point. We're somewhere over 210 plus. The last time I counted, over 210.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, explain this to me, because I'm looking at your heat graph here.
Okay.
And I'm seeing roughly, let's say that there are 7 per category, no, 8 per category, and there are 4 categories.
There are 6 categories. The classic
Yes.
era, 80s, 90s, cable era, modern day, and anime.
Right.
And some of them have a couple of shows. And some of them have a shit ton.
Section 1 of 6. That's okay. All right. I get it now. Yeah.
So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take all 6 sections.
Uh-huh.
And we're dividing them up into 4 separate heats. So let's go over to the classic era. And let's look at some of the heats in there. In the green heat, we have Alvin and the Chipmunks, Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids, Silly Symphony, Josie and the Pussycats, Benny and Cecil, the Flintstones, Mighty Mouse, and Dungeons and Dragons. That one got added today, thanks to one of our viewers on Twitter.
D&D is getting it. Yeah, Dungeons & Dragons is a solid pick, too. I can't believe I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Wait,
well,
did you say Benny and Cecil?
Beanie.
Beanie?
Did I say Benny?
Like,
I could've.
who's Benny, the disenfranchised dragon that the family no longer chooses to acknowledge?
And he has a jet.
That's the guy that moved to Vegas to pursue his dreams of being a championship blackjack dealer.
You know what? I never saw that show. No, that's not true. I did see that show once, and I was like, the hell is this?
I only saw, like, the revival of it. So I can't really say that that's the classic version.
They rebooted it?
Yeah, it was it was either a Chris Felucci or a Bakshi thing, but I would do some research on that. It was eons ago.
Okay.
So I barely remember.
Well, by the time this episode goes live, the voting will have begun for the heats. Basically, the top 3... I'll ask everybody who votes to vote for their 3 favorite from each particular heat. The 3 highest voted shows, will move on to the second round. So we will go from, in this case, the classic era has 31 episodes as of right now. And here's the other thing. Between the point of the recording of this show and by the time you finally see the list, some extra shows might be added by then, because we just had an edition today of Dungeons & Dragons. We'll probably get some more in the next whatever time it takes for this thing to go live. But here's the great thing. If perchance you could think of a show that is not on the list, each category is going to have at least one write-in candidate. You put in that write-in candidate and you vote for it. If we feel that it deserves to be in the playoffs, it might just make it in. Not guaranteeing, but there's a very good chance it will.
All right. So, solid shit.
Yeah. You know what? If I ended up listing all 210 plus TV series that are in this thing, this is going to be like a 3-hour show. So basically, like some of the highlights for the rest of the classic era, we have like Pink Panther, Tom and Jerry.
Pink Panther would be interesting because that's gone through like so many different revisions.
Right.
Tom and Jerry too, come to think of it.
Yeah, but here's the strange thing. You know the Mandela effect, where you think it's one thing, but it's actually another thing in reality?
Or forgetting something, but yeah, I understand.
Yeah. For the longest time, I thought... where is it? Oh, yeah, I thought the classic Disney shorts from, like, the 30s up to, I don't know, like the 60s or something.
Yeah.
I always thought those were called Merrie Melodies. They're not.
No.
That's Looney Tunes, basically. So what's the difference between Looney Tunes and Merrie Melodies, basically? Do you know what the main difference is? Is it just what they called it before it became Looney Tunes?
Oh, fuck me, I used to know this. Merrie Melodies is mostly what all the shorts are called, even through like the post-Termite Terrace era. Looney Tunes for... Oh, man, what did they...
Because I actually found there was some... I found some graphics that say Looney Tunes and Merrie Melodies, so basically it was considered the same thing. It's a strange balance.
At some point, Looney Tunes became like the collective trademark for those properties, but there were actually some shorts, and it's like a handful of them that were called Looney Tunes, which is where they got the name from. But for the most part, if you see the bump in for all of those short cartoons are going to be called Merrie Melodies. Silly Symphonies, though, that was Disney, wasn't it?
That was all Disney, and that was my mistake. I thought the old Disney stuff like Steamboat Willie and like all the Buddy, Donald, Goofy, and Mickey short. And well, I think Oswald's even before Steamboat Willie.
Oswald, bitches.
There he is.
I'm not quite sure that necessitated the use of such a strong word, but... Anyway.
No, I'll allow it. Yeah, it'll work. Sure. But yeah, Oswald, that was before Silly Symphonies.
Right.
Silly Symphonies?
Silly Symphonies?
Exactly. Trying to spout that out. So yeah, one of my favorites I grew up with, the Goofy how-to episodes.
Those were so fucking great. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the ones that were like? I'm remembering there was like a series of cartoons that between Merrie Melodies and Silly Symphonies were very similar, but they weren't like the Goofy how-tos. They were like guided tours through homes of the future, how to cook, things like that.
Yeah, there were a lot of those were...
two were almost exactly the same. One was like a Home of the Future guided by Goofy, but another one was a Tex Avery cartoon that was just like gag to gag to gag.
Oh my god, those Tex Avery ones were fucking classic. Would those fall under Looney Tunes?
Tex Avery?
Yeah.
Those are Merrie Melodies. Tex Avery's pretty early.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think just in order to simplify everything, everything done by Warner Brothers will be looped into the Looney Tunes. Anything from pre-79 or from 79 and earlier. Mm-hmm. That'll all be grouped in, and you're going to see a lot of that sometimes, where some of it is all just grouped together. Just for simplification. There are some cases where it is divided because basically it is a completely separate show. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times you're going to, if you ever have a question, you can always get us on Twitter. It's like, and clarify this or that. I was like, yeah, sure. It's either separated or it's all together. You might be able to figure it out just by looking at it.
Don't cuss too much because apparently your account will be muted.
What?
I don't know. Have you heard this?
On what? Twitter?
Twitter, yeah.
Get the fuck out.
Apparently, some people have been getting... okay, I know I'm getting the story wrong in the particulars here, so you'll have to look this up. People are getting like either shadow banned or shadow muted for cussing too much.
What is shadow muted?
Not quite shadow banned, really. Just having your stuff... Well, never mind. Look it up. So I'm probably completely talking out of my ass here, but this is something I caught in my periphery just while Google surfing a couple of days ago. But yeah, apparently cussing is like a no-fly zone on Twitter now.
Oh, for God's sake!
I know, it's so beautiful.
I'm one of the biggest advocates for the First Amendment. That's nuts. That's crazy.
For the children, Bob. For the children.
Dude, for the children. Fuck the children.
Beyond classics. What are we talking about?
All right, so, I mean, the 80s, basically the same thing, only we have a couple extra entries into the 80s, and basically everything you can think of is in here. And again, like I said, every single category, era, basically, is going to have a write-in candidate in case you think we missed something. I don't think it's possible that we actually missed something. I mean, that's... if we missed anything, it's got to be very minor. Prove me wrong. That's all I'm going to say. But looking at some of the heavyweights for the 80s, we have the original DuckTales. Let's see. We have Thundercats. We got Mask. We got Transformers. I almost said GoBots because they're right next to each other.
Basically all the shit we were talking about last week, right? Or
yeah, basically. Yeah. Except for, like... Yeah, you just look it over and.
And because I'm pretty sure like everybody watching was left in blood curdling suspense since last episode. That cartoon that I was telling you about and trying to describe, where it had like a very rough illustrative style and it was about like redneck things and like drag racers that had.
Oh, that show.
It's called Trollkins. I had to look that shit up. That's Mazzo obscure. That doesn't even come close to ringing a bell for me. Do you think it should be on the list? No, but I really like I kind of missed it. It was a cartoon that I liked, but it was 80s Hanna-Barbera, and by that point they were more or less kind of like a charnel house for cartoons. So whatever flew, they would put on the air.
Okay.
For those of you who are wondering. More or less for those of you who are screaming at their monitors, it's Trollkins! It's Trollkins, you uneducated fuck!
You know there's that one guy in Des Moines just screaming at his podcast.
He's got like an entire Trollkins mural on the back of his man cave. And he's got like autographed photos, like, you know, real life stills of the voice actors saying, thanks for remembering Trollkins. And one of them's Frank Welker, just because. Frank Welker was cartoons in the 80s.
All right, moving on to the 90s. Some of the highlights we have in there. Again, 3 categories, top 3 for each move on. We got Animaniacs. Now, I put the original animated Ninja Turtles in the 90s. Mm-hmm. Even though it started in the 80s, but the majority of its length was in the 90s.
That's worth considering.
Yeah.
Wait, did we talk about this last week about the distinction between 80s and 90s cartoons? No, 90s and cable.
Yes.
That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, that's where the line really gets blurred because what is what
but
should go
we
where.
sorted that out. Now do you consider things to be an 80s cartoon if it's more emblematic of the 90s period?
I had a really hard time deciding some of these. For Ninja Turtles, I decided the original series that started in 87, that should go in the 90s because the series ran until 96. So that's 6 years versus 3. I thought,
Holy
okay.
shit, really?
That's what the numbers say. I don't remember it running that long.
Wow, that's impressive. Especially for a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, now that I say that out loud, I'm second guessing myself. Maybe I'll fact check that and I'll make changes if need be. But 87 and 96, that does seem rather lengthy, even though the series was very popular and made a lot of money.
Hey, speaking of cartoons that defy era, what are we going to do about The Simpsons?
That is a very good question.
Yeah,
The Simpsons.
By sheer numbers alone, it's going to pretty much just stomp all over the rest of the field.
Well, I ended up putting The Simpsons in the 90s bracket.
So it's in the contest?
Oh, yeah, it's in the contest.
Oh, it's going to win then.
There's, some people might argue with you on that one.
I'd like to see them try.
Well, okay, but,
Not really, I'm indifferent.
here is, let's see, where is it? It's in the red section of the 90s heat.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over some of the other shows. Ren and Stimpy, the original Fox X-Men, Tiny Toons, Dr. Katz, Superman the Animated Series.
Dr. Katz representation, nice.
Yeah. Beetlejuice, Beavis and Butthead, Spider-Man, and the Max.
The Max, that's an interesting pick, too.
Now you
Very
see,
few people
this
remember
is
that.
yeah, I remember it very fondly. It was the strangest show on TV at the time.
That was a strange fucking comic, too.
Yeah, it was.
And being that comics were a little less, or a little, not a little, way more niche than cartoons were, especially, mass-produced cartoons, that's fucking saying something.
Yeah, but one of the reasons why I'm doing the heats is so, just a show like The Simpsons isn't just drowning out the competition. It's going to allow other shows a chance to advance with it. It'll bring shows with it.
Yeah.
That kind of deal.
Before The Simpsons kills it.
I mean,
I know it sounds like I'm being dismissive here, but it's not like, in terms of sheer quality, yeah, it would stand a really good chance. The thing is that cartoon is recognizable by more than just a generation. It's persisted for 20 fucking years.
almost 30, it'll be 30 years next season.
Exactly. So it's not just one of the longest running cartoons in the history of television. It's one of the longest. No, it's the longest running show in the history of television. So it's more or less a ringer at that point, and that's defying cultural boundaries.
Right.
Yeah.
I almost thought about just bypassing the entire heats and just putting the Simpsons straight in. There's like five shows probably. Just put them in the playoff. Don't even bother. But you never know. There might be like a big upset. Here's the other thing. Mm-hmm. There's going to be room for wild cards. So if the Simpsons don't make it out of the first heat, it doesn't matter if they're in the second heat. The Simpsons are probably going in the playoff at some part at a lower seed, but they're going in.
Right.
So I don't want to tell people you're going to waste your vote if you vote for something else or if you do vote for the Simpsons. Vote with what you feel like should advance into the next round. That's basically how I advise everybody to go. Don't vote with your head. Vote with your heart.
Right. Don't screw this up like we screwed up American politics. Ooh, real talk. No, we don't do that.
Yeah, it's depressing enough as it is. Are we talking about the show or American politics?
I don't know. Here, we said the P word. Just.
Yep. Okay.
Are we
that
feeling
soothes.
better?
Yeah.
Feeling better.
Oh yeah.
Excellent. Most
All right.
high.
Cable era. This is Cable era the one. Yeah, Cable era is the one where you have about 50 different shows. So for this particular heat, first round heats, I'm not going to allow the three highest votes. I'm going to allow the four highest votes for each heat to go in.
Okay. And loosely defined, Cable era. Did we agree on this yet? Is more or less late 90s into the 2000s? Cable
era, probably the best way to think about it is from, let's say, 96 till 2009. That time span.
Whew. All right.
So
pretty
yeah,
generous,
it's,
but yeah.
it's thicker than classic era is the biggest time span. Cable era or anime would probably be the second. There's been more quality anime the last 10, 20 years than there has been the last 50. All right, so right off the bat, like some of the heavy hitters for the cable era, we have like Futurama, Spawn, Bratman. Who's Bratman? Batman, Brave and the Bold. Justice League Unlimited. That one got a lot
Brave
of...
and the Bold.
Yeah. Both those last two got a lot of votes. Let's see. We also have like...
Wait, Brave and the Bold got a lot of votes?
yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah. So
Faith in
it's probably
Humanity
going to...
is somewhat emboldened.
let's see. We also got home movies, SpongeBob.
Any Gary the Rat?
Gary the Rat. I haven't seen Gary the Rat. You're gonna have
Do you remember Gary the Rat?
I don't remember Gary the Rat. You're gonna need to remind me.
Do you remember when Spike TV was first established? They had a cartoon block. And the big draw for the cartoon block was the revival of Ren and Stimpy. And the supposed grab there was that, oh no, it's Spumco unfiltered, and it ended up being like the worst run of Ren and Stimpy. But still, there were these other tunes that were part of the tail end of that block, like Stripperella, which was a Stan Lee thing, something else, and then Gary the Rat, which was formerly a Flash exclusive cartoon that was voiced by Kelsey Grammer, and it was actually pretty fucking funny. But none of the cartoons lasted that long, so it's not really a surprise that nobody remembers.
Yeah, nobody mentioned it. You think it should go in?
I remember it pretty fondly. If there's space, yeah, let's go ahead and throw it in. Clearly, it's not going to be remembered as any sort of the greatest, because it didn't make it past, 9 episodes. But...
Oh.
I don't know. There's a place for it in my heart.
Yeah, we really don't have, a limit of episode run, so... I don't know. There'll be a game time decision. Gary the Rat. Is that the episode where the bad guy had a cat, and whoever was the VO artist for that particular cat just was the laziest voiceover actor ever? Or am I thinking of some other show?
I don't remember. That doesn't sound familiar.
Because I remember, and it's probably not Gary the Rat, but the bad guy would be talking, and then there's somewhat of a tight shot of the cat that he's holding, and instead of hearing meow, you hear meow. Just completely, I don't give a shit. Just give me my check. Meow.
What the shit? No, but that sounds so familiar. Hey, hold on a second. What was that one cartoon about? It was on Comedy Central, and I think it didn't probably make it past 6 episodes. It was about, not Robert Vaughn, but a movie producer, very famous, very shady.
Robert Palmer?
The Kid Stays in the Picture. That was the name of the show. I forget what the producer's name was. Do you remember that shit?
Oh, it had very unique animation, I remember.
It was coming off of the Flash era. Like Gary the Rat and others were at the time. Hold the fuck up. Just 1 second.
I want to say Robert Palmer.
No, it's not Robert Palmer.
Not
that
him.
Was Simply
Okay.
Irresistible. Dun, 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 dun,
No, okay.
Robert Evans. It was
Robert Evans.
Right.
That's it, yeah. He had a fancy name for his house, and he made innuendo jokes all the time.
Oh, yeah. He was he was a character, you might say, but,
yeah, because that's right. Because the show was basically based off his real life,
his autobiography. Yeah, but it was like a hyper realized version of it, which is why they made it a cartoon. Because there had to be shenanigans and a lot of extravagant violence and such. But it was pretty funny too, which you wouldn't think, because honestly, Robert Evans is kind of a haunting figure. The guy's creepy as shit. But I guess if you put it into cartoonized context during the era of Maxim magazine, sure, you're going to find some humor in it. Honestly, because I'm into Blake Edwards, I thought it was hilarious as shit. But I think that's a very narrow niche.
Oh, man.
See, now we're just getting into, obscure cartoons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nobody else is, so might as well, that's what our job is.
All right. Then the kid does stay in the picture, indeed. Along with Gary the Rat. 2 cartoons about upper-class scumfucks.
Oh, you know what? Stripperella's not on the list.
I never saw Stripperella, so I can't really.
I saw it. I didn't think it was very good, but I know a lot of people loved it.
Oh, okay, why not? Cult tunes are as good as any.
Yeah.
Shit, that's like 80. That's like 70% of them.
Whew, yeah. Now another list. The next list we have is the modern day, and that one's a little shorter than the others, only because it's only modern day is like anywhere between 2009 to today. So
Okay.
there's not a lot of entries on this list,
Some
but
really
my
good ones, though.
God,
Probably.
the quality makes up for the quantity without a doubt. Mm-hmm. I mean,
So where's Gravity Falls on that list?
Gravity Falls is in the orange heat, the third heat.
Fabulous. Right.
Let's see. In that particular heat, we also have Voltron Legendary Defender, Tron Uprising, Ruby Gloom, Milo Murphy's Law, and Venture Brothers.
Ruby. No. Really?
It was nominated in.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Let it. Sure. Whatever. I mean, hey, in terms of tunes that had a shit ton of promise, yeah, but there's no staying power with that one whatsoever. Now, Star's in there, right?
Oh yeah, Star versus Forces of Evil. Yeah, it's in there.
Forces of Evil. Okay, cool.
Where is that one? That one is in. I know it. Maybe I know it's in. Oh, it's in the blue section. That's going up against Amazing World of Gumball.
Yeah.
OK KO, Let's Be Heroes, Archer, My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, and Castlevania. My God, that's a strong battle.
Woo.
Wow,
Yeah,
pick
that's a
three
pretty-
of those.
That's a varied plate too. Talk about
Yeah.
talk about a selection. I mean, you bounced from Archer to My Little Pony, and then to Castlevania.
Yeah. God, for me, my 3 votes would have to go Castlevania, Archer, and Star versus Forces of Evil.
I mean, those last 3 are like a fucking marshmallow cream steak sandwich.
Yeah, like I said, some of these selections, I mean, the red section right there. Adventure Time, Afro Samurai, BoJack Horseman, We Bare Bears, DuckTales 2017, and Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty, yeah. You know what kind of sucks about Rick and Morty though? Like after that one time you had me on before I moved, and I was spurging out about that cartoon. All of a sudden, the Rick and Morty fandom phenomenon happened like right afterwards.
Yeah.
So now I can't really fucking talk about that cartoon anymore.
It's
because
not
so
your own
many
little thing
assholes are
anymore.
in love with it.
Yeah.
That sucks.
And you know what? Since we're looking at the other 3, let's look at the last heat, the green heat. That is Teen Titans Go, Ultimate Spider-Man, Bob's Burgers, Steven Universe, Harvey Birdman, and Star Wars Rebels.
Nice.
This is a stacked list. This is unbelievably just loaded with quality.
You mentioned Harvey Birdman though. Would that not be the cable era? Because that's Adult Swim. That was like during the golden age of Adult Swim.
Right. I'll second guess that, but I placed it in there because of its time frame.
That's what I was going to say. If we framed it as the show that got canceled right after the Colbert Report started, which was around 2006 or so, I think that puts it squarely in the cable era. And
Good argument.
Think about its contemporaries also. There was C-Lab 2021, which I hope is on there.
Oh yeah, it's in there.
Good. Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
It's in there.
And what was the other original? It was Space Ghost. It was Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Mm-hmm. But that was kind of a carryover from TBS that more or less launched Adult Swim as well.
Yeah. I'll second check that. Second guess that. I'll double check it.
You'll second drink it as well.
I'll drink to that every day of the week. Yeah. But yeah, basically, like I said before, the list that we're talking about right now, they'll probably change a little bit. Some additions will be made. Some stuff might get moved. It really depends on like a couple of things. I'll double check that Harvey Birdman. I remember it running for a little while. Now 2006. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll double check that. Yeah, that wouldn't qualify it as modern day, but it's really close.
The nice thing about Hulu is that it has most of the classic Adult Swim shows in their
that's
totality.
true. Yeah. Until Disney kicks them off.
Until Disney kicks them off. Oh, don't do that.
No.
Well, don't buy them either, but still. Give them a home.
Now, basically, if we move on to like the anime section, kind of the same thing. There's lots of quality here. It's kind of spread out.
Is there any reason that anime does not cross-pollinate the usual categories?
Probably because, well, that's a really good question. Why isn't some anime in like the 90s and some of it in cable era and what forth?
Yeah, I mean there are still at least like 4 distinct eras of anime. If you couldn't like tell by tone by itself, like a lot of the early 80s, late 70s shit is like super hard. And then it kind of mellows out in the late 80s and the 90s, but then the late 90s brings us like Trigun and Cowboy Bebop and it starts edging out a bit more. And then the 2000s happens and it fucking explodes.
Well, yes. This was a tough call to make because I thought about doing that, just taking some of these great shows and moving them to their particular time frame era. But I think anime is in such a state of popularity right now that it probably deserves to be its own separate category. Just to give more recognition to the lesser known stuff.
Okay. All right. I see.
So stuff like, let's go over the list. I think it was Naruto. That was originally aired on Nickelodeon?
I have no fucking clue. Like anything Naruto, I just kind of dodge.
Well, yeah, the stuff like, Naruto, Avatar, even though, yes,
Avatar,
I know it was made in America.
No, I was going to say that was Nickelodeon, but yeah, you're
okay,
right.
Yeah. And those were Nickelodeon. What was it? Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball, that was Cartoon Network. And, it was kind of spread all over the place. So, yeah, there is an argument that they could have gone in the 90s or the cable era. And then some of these could have gone in modern day. I think making it its separate thing would give more of an opportunity for the lesser-known shows like Trigun.
Like, fuck's sake, Sailor Moon's a conversation in and of itself.
Well, basically...
when it comes to eras.
Yeah, but, I mean, kind of, in a way, Sailor Moon exploded the popularity of anime in America.
It would have been one of the ambassadors, that's true.
Yeah, if as far as series go. Movies, that's a different issue altogether. But where is Sailor Moon? Where do we have that?
Where's what?
Sailor Moon. I'm looking where I put that. Where the hell? Oh, there it is. It's in the. Oh my God! It's in the blue section.
Okay.
Which also contains FLCL. Kinnikuman. One Piece.
All right.
Mobile Suit Gundam. English Story, English Dub. Or Ghost Story, English Dub.
English Story.
English Story. And Dragon Ball.
All right.
Dragon Ball is another one of those shows where I'm looping everything. Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super. Just put it all together into one category. And the reason for that is they'll show, even though there's like a 15-year break and it was made by different studios at one time, it's all one continuous show.
Right.
Very similar to Lupin. How it's just one continuous story. Boom, 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 boom. It's just stretched out.
Yeah, it's like a franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing would go for Avatar. That would link in both The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra. That's all like considered the same thing. If these shows should have gone in 90s or cable or somewhere else within the time frame eras, we probably would not have Ghost Stories on this list.
No.
We would not have
on the list.
Yeah, we would not have. Well, we might have Astro Boy. I mean, that would have gone in the classic era, but still.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of the shows I've never seen of, and I never heard of until I was like, wow, that's a really popular show. Okay, Your Lie in April.
Okay. Apparently, I need to watch more of this stuff. I've not heard of that one. No.
I mean, some of my personal favorites aren't on here, like Restaurant to Another World. That's not on the list, but probably because it's not very highly rated. It's a good relaxing show. But
It's still sort of new-ish too, right?
yeah. It's only been on for one season, but you know, there's some other shows.
Fan following yet?
Yeah, there's some other shows in here that only there's actually a lot of shows in here that only last one season, like One Punch Man, one season.
Death Parade.
You know, did I put Death Parade on here? I think I did. I'm looking for it. There it is. Yep. Oh, it's right next to One Punch Man. And just below that is Cowboy Bebop. So,
oh yay!
This is like I put it at random. So it's just coincidence that all three of these 1 year seasons.
That's just anime though.
Yeah, just anime. That's the normal thing for anime.
A lot of the most popular ones are just one season. That's all you get. Has anybody suggested, since FLCL is on there, I'm going to go ahead and assume that, it'd be safe to assume that OVAs are allowed. So, did anybody suggest Otaku no Video? No
one suggested it. If you think it should go on there, we'll get it in there.
That's got to go on there, yeah. I think that's I don't know if it's obscure or not, but I think it's one of those shows that kind of transcends the way to sound like a film douche. It go on list. How about that?
It's a good thing.
It was a mini series about anime and fandom nerds. And this is a long time ago. This was made in like the early 90s. They go into like a figure or a model building business themselves, and they become so successful that their empire like branches out. It's basically like Citizen Kane for nerds. Yeah. It was pretty good. Yeah. Put it on the list.
So basically it was before the word otaku was really popular.
Over here.
Yeah. Well,
over there it was just a word. But yeah.
Neat. All right, so like I said earlier, when this episode finally goes up online, that is when the voting will begin. If you want to find the link to how the voting is going to be done, I've made up a Google Forms page where you can just vote. There are instructions saying vote for 3, vote for 2, vote for 4, depending on what the category is, what the section is, and everything. Please vote. Everybody vote. I would really appreciate it. And like I said earlier, what you may see final on that list might change a little bit from what you hear us talking about today. Yeah. If you need... Thank you, Satan.
Was that actually funny?
I guess Satan left Secret Transmission podcast to be on our show for a day.
Drink Ovaltine.
There it is.
Yep. Not very subliminal, however.
All right. Yeah. So, if you want to find
finger in my butthole.
Oh, hey. Now it's starting to sound like Satan.
Yeah, I guess that one's leaving. That one's hitting the cutting room floor.
No.
You wouldn't. Yeah, you would. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. Yeah. So again, if you want to find the link to this, you can go to one of our social pages. Twitter's probably the best place. Our Facebook page, we've been seriously neglecting. I think Jay made a previous update before. I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll start putting stuff on here now.
Yeah.
We'll put the link on Twitter and Facebook and even Instagram if that's where you follow us. Either way, you should be able to find this link to the Google Forms, and it's going to give you the categories and everything for you to vote for.
Yep.
Please vote. Everyone who votes, and if you don't vote, you don't have room to bitch.
Just like Grandpa always likes to say, right before he rants about other stuff that gets him kicked out of the house at Christmas.
Where we learn Grandpa is secretly racist.
Yep. Secretly.
Oh, no. Not anymore.
That's if he considers decorum, which most grandpas do not do. So that's the cartoon playoffs.
Is there any other topics you'd like to touch on?
Nothing much happening. There were a couple of events of import over the last week, aside from the WiiWare thing, which is honestly going to be important to like maybe a handful of people.
I'm gonna check it out to see what. I doubt there's gonna be any sales going on, but I still was like,
No, there's never any sales going on that shop. It's all full price stuff, so it's going to be an investment on one's part. We're mentally prepared for that. Infinity War.
oh yeah, that's happening.
The trailer hit yesterday, and I had questions. Because, all right, we've just had Black Panther, okay? Infinity War is supposed to be a summertime thing. Hey, look at that handsome fella right there.
Yeah, I got this from what I thought was my last loot crate. I'm getting another one.
Oh, yeah?
One left. Just one. Hopefully.
Did you know, or was it like a surprise? Like an oops baby?
I got an email saying, it's like, hey, your next loot crate's on the way. I was like, oh, I thought I got my last one
so
already.
It's exactly like an oops baby.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Only now I'm not in crippling debt.
Well, for some people, it's the same way. But anyway, we've got Infinity War happening, and also rounding out the Marvel load for this year is supposed to be Ant-Man versus Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yeah.
But is that also a summer thing, or is that coming out in?
That is
for the summer or the winter season.
That is the end of summer, I want to say, because they obviously want to give Infinity War its breathing room. They bumped Infinity War up like a couple of weeks. It's
Which
coming
is
out
something
in April
else.
now.
Yeah, something else worth mentioning, because that normally doesn't happen to a movie. Well, movies get bumped back typically. Bumped forward though.
Yeah, I mean, how much? I guess it's all done, which I'm kind of sad because if it was pushed back like a week or two, I would know that obviously all principal photography is done, most of the digital stuff is done, and all the other editing is done. I was hoping that if it did get pushed back, that would indicate that let's shoot something really quick and put it in as a post-credit scene, like say maybe the X-Men show up.
Yeah, or something.
Something a little less
honestly,
disappointing.
I'm just hoping for Howard to pop in for
God,
Coke and a smile. But there's a couple of observations about the trailer. It's worth mentioning for this episode because the full trailer came out yesterday. That's like the hype train is at a total steam. And that was that with every subsequent of Thanos in previous movies, he's taken on a less cosmic and a less overbearing demeanor. And now we've got
he was regulated to cameo roles up till this point.
It was just cameo roles, yeah, but he always had that booming voice and that menacing sneer and shit. Now he's just a really concerned dad for the most part.
Yeah, the auto-tuner's been turned off at this point.
Exactly. And I think they're using Brolin's voice, except maybe having him turn the octave down one or two. But for the most part, you can see him getting in a fight with somebody at a soccer game, but not really ruining the entire universe. Which is great. I mean, I like that they tried to... I like that they took it down from 12 to around maybe 8 in order to kind of...
Oh yeah, it's still there. It's just in a lower octave. Right.
But each of those disparate universes that have previously existed in their own sort of bubble of being, they had very diverse textures. And Thanos is supposed to be the one unifying element. And it would be pretty cool if NCNYU would show up, or MCNYU would show up, the Marvel Cinematic New York Universe. I don't think that's going to happen, but it would be neat.
Oh, you mean like the Defenders, or
yeah,
is
the
this someone
Defenders
else?
pop in for a coconut song.
No,
Punisher shows up and they goes
shocked if it happens,
and then walks off.
What is the Punisher going to do to Thanos? Just shoot him a bunch of times? Just stand there? It's it's not gonna.
Well, he's probably gonna pee and then crawl back into whatever Sausage Fest tavern that he popped out of for a breath of fresh air.
The fumes are getting too much, and hi Thanos.
Yeah. Wasn't Punisher somewhere in Infinity War because it was the 90s? I'm sorry, Infinity Gauntlet because it was the 90s?
I'm gonna say no.
I mean, for the most part, it was the Captain America and Cyclops show at the time. But Punisher was one of their biggest sellers because middle school boys were buying comics.
Yeah. No, I don't. I want to say Punisher was one of the vanished people, one of the half of the universe that disappeared.
Oh, the ones that got waxed. Okay.
Yeah. You know,
All right.
the lesser characters. No, save these big name guys. Let's get Cyclops and Captain America. Wolverine, yeah, get in there. Let's get in there. Doctor Strange, yeah. Spider-Man, yeah, get the fuck in there, man. Hulk, get in there, man.
Slapstick?
Bubble Boy? No, you're good right where you are, buddy. Right there.
Darkhawk, Speedball, get in here and into the penalty box right over there.
Falcon? Yeah. Thanks for your time, buddy.
I thought Speedball had a kind of a, not a prominent role, but a supporting role in Infinity Gauntlet.
No.
Because he was still with the New Warriors, and there was a little bit of crossover between them and the original Guardians.
I don't think he was, but by saying that, I'm wonder if I'm getting him confused with Nova.
No, it was Nova. It was Nova. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Fuck that. Speedball? Playoffs?
But
right.
you know how in the trailers for Thor, where they altered some stuff just to keep it from being spoiled, like when Thor. Spoilers for Thor, Ragnarok here, by the way. He loses an eye, just like his dad.
Yeah.
But in the trailer, they show
and he loses a dad too.
Well, he loses his dad, his hammer, and like all of the Fantastic Three friends of his. They're all dead.
Yeah, so they weren't that fantastic.
I didn't see that coming when she killed all three of them with one. All right, you're dead. You're dead.
Like right away. That's one of the theories about Infinity War that I think is going to be. I think it's going to be worth calling on though, because a lot of greater risks for these movies were taken towards leading up to Infinity War, which is about a MacGuffin that can literally alter the fabric of the universe and space and time and other shit. So they can bring a Yondu back. You know, they can bring an Odin back. They can make Asgard whole again.
Oh yeah, the possibilities are out there. They have so much they can do. It's just will they do it?
Yeah. So there's no wager worth taking really. And honestly, I hope they commit to that actual change, because that's something that comic books have like needed for the longest fucking time. Whenever somebody dies, what's the joke?
Oh, they're coming back.
Yeah, they're not fucking dead. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's kind of a fucked up lesson to be imparting upon people.
Right.
Even people who would know better, you know, that are more mature and malleable around those ideas. But like to a kid, that's really fucking irresponsible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I was saying earlier was in order to maintain the trailer, to keep it from spoiling things, like when Thor loses an eye, in the trailer they're showing him with both eyes when finally in the movie he loses an eye. He doesn't have the eye. I think they're doing some of that with this particular trailer. There's stuff they're not showing us or stuff they're going to alter when the movie actually hits. Like there's a part where Thanos, he's got his hand on top of Captain America, who is just pushing with all his might, and Thanos is like, okay, yeah, let's... What? All right, watch this, buddy. And he's only got two of the gems.
What's that? You move? Okay.
And without the gauntlet, he doesn't need this. I mean, he can crush Captain America if he wanted to, but in the trailer, it only shows two of the stones on the gauntlet, so I'm guessing maybe at that point... And they clearly show two empty spots, so I'm thinking maybe once the movie hits, he's going to have two more stones at that point.
Yeah. That's some heavy shit.
What I'm afraid of is it's going to be him obtaining all the gems throughout the entire length of the movie. And then finally he gets the sixth gem, he puts it on his knuckle, that's when it gets taken out.
Oh, yeah? Because because the fifth gem would be the one that the Vision has, right?
Yeah, Vision has the Mind Gem, which... Don't get attached to Vision, folks. I wouldn't be shocked for a heartbeat if Thanos punches his fist through Vision's face, rips out the gem with his bare fingers, and puts that on the gauntlet.
I wouldn't be surprised if Thanos stuck a Samsung battery to Vision's face and then fried him and then took the Mind Gem and then made a dated reference like that. So, all right.
He can't fly on planes.
So, all right. Well, that's aside from Infinity War. Was there anything else like huge that happened this week?
No, most of my time and energy has been used on the nerd playoff. So let's see how this pays off.
nothing really tech-wise, nothing really showcase or showbiz-wise. I've, been keeping my finger on the pulse of, video games as is usual, and nothing crazy remarkable, except for, a lot of trailers for indie games and stuff has come out, so I don't really have anything either. This is the end of the road, I'm afraid.
You say that, and the Nintendo Direct that comes out right before this particular podcast goes on air. Watch that just explode with stuff just like the last one did.
That's likely. Oh, yeah, Smash Brothers, there's that shit, but...
God, the fucking world lost their shit over that, if I can talk.
That was crazy, too. I don't know. The only thing that I'm hoping for that is that if it's likely that they're going to do a straight port of the, Smash 4, whatever you want to call it. But people seem to be approaching the story with the notion that they're doing a fresh one.
That's the hint I'm getting, because I think on their official press release, they didn't refer to it or hint at it being a port. They actually called it a brand new title.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
The mind reels. All right. Well, hold on, Satan. What do you think?
The fucking Smash Brothers.
I don't know.
Satan, you look like a plastic hula girl there for a moment there.
Tiny bubbles.
Oh my god.
What are we laughing at? Nothing.
I don't know anymore. Okay, you're cut off. Satan, you need to go somewhere else.
Okay.
Okay. We should probably end this while we can, before we go deeper down this hole that we can't climb out of.
Oh, please. Like we've not divested ourselves of any less dignity.
I know, I have one of those miner hats with a light on it at this point. So...
You stopped at miner hat, huh?
Yeah.
Propeller beanie on top of a Devo hat.
I don't know why I just mentioned my mouth. It doesn't taste good. We have lost it. Holy crap. All right.
But anyone that talks to you is going to be very appreciative.
Not me,
just
though.
don't drink any orange juice right after that.
Oh my god. Oh. I've been seeing mixes in that book for citrus drinks with a hint of mint. I'm like, are you fucking nuts?
Well, those are fine. Just don't drink one, right afterwards. Well, what I'm saying here is don't do it if you're using toothpaste as mint.
Oh, God.
More or less.
Yeah, I knew that's, yeah.
More.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Okay. Okay.
Let's stick this pig. So, if you want to get a hold of us, again, Cretans Guild on any of the social media platforms.
Follow us on Twitter.
Please do. Follow Satan.
Don't slide in my DMs. Don't at me, bitch.
So, if you want to subscribe, if you want to just let Satan host this next one, you'd probably be a better host than I ever would be. All right, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Again, subscribe to our YouTube. Give us rating on any of the listening platforms that you listen to us. He is Corey. He's a mess. I'm Bob. I'm worse. And we say to all of our listeners, new and old,
Yeah.
welcome to the guild. Shit, Gimli, shit. Good dog.